Welcome back, everyone. We're hopping in here as the second series is going to be starting off in just a second of here, and you see Chilling walk on screen. We're still a little too hype after that last game because Evil Geniuses versus 100 Thieves, man. They gave us a whirlwind of a game too.
I feel like 5 minutes is not enough, Vickers. I feel like I just need to take a walk out for like 10 minutes and come back and then soak up this game. That's a lot of soak in, man. But this game, it was so much. But this game, we got FlyQuest Academy versus CLG, and both these guys, they had some rough spots throughout their entire time in Academy and going into today. But I am happy to see them come in tonight and see if they have that last chance to continue their streak in that loser side. You know,
I'm curious to see which one of these teams is going to be able to keep their run alive. That's really the biggest thing here for Proving Grounds. It's FlyQuest versus CLG Academy. We talked a little bit about them before we threw it over to the break. Yeah. FlyQuest, a bunch of hungry players. CLG also coming in with some names that we've seen before. And if you're looking on screen, Griffin is going to be subbing in the jungle this week here. Meanwhile, Keel is going to be rotating over to the mid lane. Have to double confirm on this. It looks like everything might have gotten shifted.
Yeah, maybe got shifted. Just going to wait on producer. Regardless, though, if it is this roster, then we'll see it in pick and bans. If it's not this roster, then we'll kind of go into that. But on the FlyQuest side, of course, everyone's still pretty much the same. Kumo, Anixai, Triple, Tomo, and Dreams. And we take a look at both these teams. Both these teams favor the longer kind of games, man. They kind of want to wait till 30 minutes to start team fighting. It's just kind of been the name of the game for both these teams. However, we have to wonder why. For CLG, they've been going through some roster swaps, unfortunately. You know, we have Pole Belts to come in, we have a different jungle, we have a different top coming in, RJS coming in from Academy, swap from top to mid. You know, CLG has right now finally found their footing and finally found their roster, which means that they still have some kinks to work out. They still have to make sure, you know, everything's working, everything is fixed. And that's why we see some of those games go a little bit slower, but we do see some cool play from them. As long as they're still playing their A game, as long as they're still playing through RJS, who, by the way, popped off last week, then you know, CLG do have a chance when it comes to winning it. On FlyQuest side, though, it's all about that bot lane. They want to make sure Tomo gets off real fast and real loose. That's what FlyQuest wants, and that's what they only want.
Yeah, we do have the graphic updated for everybody at home.
There you go.
Keel is going to be in the jungle. RJS is in the mid lane. It looked like everything just got shifted down for a second, so don't worry. We got you guys covered on that. You get to see the actual rosters coming up here, but FlyQuest, they do love to play around the spot lane. Tomo and Dreams, the backbone of FlyQuest. Tomo, pop-off performance. When he gets ahead, he gets huge leads here. Dreams as well. A veteran of the scene, playing in the LEC back in 2016, has been on the likes of Misfits, Schalke. He was even playing on Vitality for a little bit, and now he's coming over here to NA, playing in the Academy scene, is acting as a huge backbone for the side of FlyQuest Academy, being their voice of reason, being their veteran talent that's really pushing the team forward, making sure they stay calm, cool, and collected through all their team fights.
Yeah, I've heard from Fantix and Loyola, their coach and the analyst, that a lot of these guys are kind of funny, man. A lot of these guys like to goon around a little bit, but Dreams is the one that keeps them all together when things start going tough. And that's a really good thing to have, especially when you're working with a lot of young players such as NXI, who is basically raw talent, man. NXI, when he was on 100 Thieves Next, was popping off everywhere. He stepped up to Ken V's shoes real good. The thing is that you got to harness that talent, and what better way to have a veteran such as Dreams on this team that's leading him to that kind of victory. And along with Dreams, too, we have to give shout-outs to Kumo, because Kumo is also the secondary leader on this squad when we take a look at the rest of FlyQuest's team. And that's where we have a pretty solid system on the FlyQuest roster where, you know, you got these two veterans, you got these two people helping out a lot of these youngsters, making sure that they're molded correctly.
And CLG isn't lacking in talent themselves either here. That RJS coming over, he did play in Challenger's Korea for just a little bit, and we keep coming back to him over at CLG as the main carry, the main voice of reason. And with him being back in the mid lane, he's got some killer control mages. His rise last week, absolutely popping off versus 100.
That was, you talk about my last name, Mua. RJS's performance was legit chef's kiss. RJS has been recently, on the wins that RJ has had, he's the main reason who's putting up the biggest numbers on CLG. And I really want to pay attention to how he performs in this game against Triple, who Triple loves focusing on laning. Triple likes to dissect lane, likes to figure out what's the best optimal way to optimize it. But RJS he has to tackle against RJS, the one who is one of CLG's biggest backbones when it comes to getting those victories. That's going to be a cool matchup to see. But I got to show some love to Hooks, man. Hooks has been someone who's been part of the CLG team, CLG brand for a long time. Played on CLG Black, played on CLG Main, played on CLG Academy, going back to 100 Thieves next, and coming back to CLG Academy again. Hooks has been around the block, and Hooks, being one of the other leaders on CLG Academy, can lead them to victory, knowing that he's one of the engaged supports for the squad.
And I'm really going to be looking towards Hooks and Keel for the side of CLG to be really kind of calling the shots on the engages for these team fights. Keel does like to play a lot of these more engaged meta-style champions, the Hecarim, the Udyr. He even has the Volibear underneath his belt. So I'm curious to see how Keel, with this more consistent style of engaged style junglers, is going to play up against NXI, who you mentioned previously is really that young, aggressive. He likes to take fights. He likes to try and carry for his team here. And Udyr and Hecarim, if you can get ahead early, do pose quite a bit of a threat. But I want to see NXI maybe pull out something like another Nidalee in game 2 here, or in the second series here. But we'll have to wait and see what they're able to pull out for themselves. But it's going to be a couple of interesting games for sure here, because you got veteran talent and yet young, super aggressive talent coming in from both teams.
It's kind of funny, right? Like NXI coming from Thieves next is also another Nidalee player like Kenvi, but then the only jungler out of these 4 teams who doesn't play Nidalee, who hasn't played Nidalee on the stage, is going to be Keel, man. Keel's playing the Hecarim and the Udyr, a lot of these facilitating team fighters, just because it works well for the composition course. But then CLG isn't looking to put him on Nidalee, isn't looking to put him on someone where everyone plays around that jungler, you know. We look at CLG, again, they play slow. You know, they don't really like to go for a lot of things. In fact, they play relatively defensively. We take a look at their match last week against 100 Thieves Academy. In game 2, they answer the top side plays from 100 Thieves when Kenvi and Tenacity want to look for action. They answered a lot of these. They're a really good team that can just set themselves up and set themselves in those defensive situations that suffocates the opposing teams. As long as CLG can do that, and as long as they're focusing on making sure and reacting to what FlyQuest wants to do, then CLG can look to take these games.
One thing we do know about both of these teams here, though, is that they like to play a little bit more scaling than, say, the likes of Evil Geniuses Academy. Already we see the Seraphine being taken away. First ban coming in from FlyQuest Academy. Wasn't really too heavily prioritized in the EG versus 100 Thieves game, and that's just because they don't like to play these scaling options. Nocturne also being taken away from FlyQuest Academy here, taking that one away from Kill, not want to make sure that, or RJS has actually played it last week as well, so making sure that pick doesn't go over to the hands of CLG.
Yeah, I can respect why we see the Seraphine being banned away from FlyQuest Academy, even though Triple, Tomo, and Dreams has piloted that champion. It's just not the way they want to play, man. Triple, of course, Ledali's laning. He ain't gonna play Seraphine. Tomo and Dreams, of course, want to play for 2v2s. Seraphine ain't gonna do all that. And do you want to deal with the 2-on-2 in the mid lane? Do you want to try and fight a 1-on-1 against the Seraphine in the mid lane? Nah, it's kind of boring, man. That's why I see it being banned away. Kneeling being banned away from NXI, though, is going to be a good thing for CLG Academy. And if we're taking what Contract is saying, man, if we're taking that Nidalee is a champion that is right now countering Udyr and Hecarim, once Udyr and Hecarim are all off, then it can work out, man. But instead, we do see Jinx being locked in for Tomo ASAP. Tomo is a late game carry. Tomo is going to be the person that FlyQuest is going to depend on, and this is one of the better champions for Tomo to pop off on.
It's a very curious first pick, though. Jinx has to be just a stylistic choice coming in from Tomo here. He does really like playing that Jinx because Tristana is still up and available. The Rel, the Hecarim, the Udyr were all left on the table here in FlyQuest Academy, opting to prioritize their AD carry. So they are putting their eggs into the Tomo basket for sure here. But CLG, they will get the Hecarim and the Rel in return. Udyr, most likely easy counter response to CLG. You want to pick up that priority super meta jungler here for NXI. I am super curious what they're going to round out their composition with. I wouldn't be surprised to see the likes of maybe an Alistar match that Rel. Gragas will be locked in here. So can be flexed into the support role, can be played topside as well. Interesting draft so far.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to where this Gragas is going to go too. Even though we do see RJS pick this Ryze, again, this Ryze is real good. I'm still kind of curious of where this Gragas is going to go, because Gragas has kind of fall out of the top lane meta for quite a while when Night Harvester got nerfed. So I'm assuming Dreams is going to be put on the support side. He doesn't really play Gragas. I haven't seen him pull Gragas in one of these Academy games, but
Mhm.
it does fulfill the niche of picking something that isn't engaged, or on the other end, a disengage against the likes of Hecarim and Rel. So it does fulfill that niche here. I am a little bit disappointed though that Exite didn't lock in Volibear. That's a counter that we've been seeing so much into Hecarim, knowing that you're better off level 3 because of base sets, and you scale a little bit. You scale better if Hecarim's just chilling and not really getting ganks off. But we'll have to work this out. Varus being a good ban though, that's a really good thing to see. You know, that's one of the 80 carries that's been used to target Jinx with that, you know, skill shot lockdown. So I'm liking that right now, but it just looks like both these teams are just getting what they want.
I do like to see the bans coming in here from CLG and FlyQuest. FlyQuest is probably going to ban out the Tristana as well here. If they don't, I'd be disappointed. They have the 80 carry advantage. They can take away that super strong bottom lane pick here. It will be banned away. Meanwhile, on the other side, strong picks just in the general meta. Azir and Gnar being taken off the board, not giving Azir over to triple, not allowing that blind pick of the Gnar. So kind of still wary of the Gragas flex here. Kaisa will be the lock-in for CLG. Another standard pick coming in from CLG Academy. Very strong 80 carry in the moment, but into the Jinx, I'm not a huge fan of it. I would have liked to see something else, but you need to be picking the strongest champs in the game, and I'm expecting Katsuri is going to be struggling in lane a little bit.
It definitely will be. The range is definitely going to hurt, but the biggest thing is that CLG is kind of sticking to a, you know, dive composition. Gonna hop you on all 4 legs. FlyQuest Academy have to answer back, and of course you want to choose things that can disengage and create space. Victor is going to be a good champion that can do that, and along with that, you know, try and poke out some of these champions with that laser, with that death ray. So I'm liking FlyQuest and their options right now. They're setting themselves up for a solid disengage and engage. I don't like this Renekton though, because if Renekton goes in, who can join in with you? So that's where I'm kind of wondering where this Renekton is gonna be, because if you're picking something that's looking to go in, but knowing that you can do a lot of damage, I feel like Aatrox would have been better, because you can just, you know, slam that Darkened Blade when Hecarim's in, when Rel's in, when they're all diving in. Aatrox gets a lot more value when they're all clumping in and you're coming into it. Renekton doesn't really get that. Renekton just gets a gigantic hold of the meek and maybe gets some sustain, but he does a lot better when he's diving in. So I don't know. I think FlyQuest they set themselves up for a good 4-man piece, but I have to see if this Renekton's going to work out for Kumo.
I'm curious to see if it's going to be working out for him as well. He is going to be playing into a Kennen here for TN, a champion we honestly haven't seen a whole lot of in the current meta here. And I think this is another case where the top laners are kind of just got stranded in draft, and despite the fact that CLG left counter pick for their top lane, I'm not a huge fan of the Kennen because he doesn't have the same dive potential. Yes, he has the Maelstrom, but he doesn't have the same engage potential unless he has the Rocket Belt or gets a good TP flank.
That's definitely true. You know, you do have a good amount of disengage. You have the Victor Gravity Field. You have the Gragas Explosive Cast to stop all you guys out. But Tien plays a lot of top lanes, man. If you take a look at his stats and his champion pool, he plays like a Kali, he plays Kennen, he plays Sylas, he plays all these top lane mages, and also the current meta. That is crazy. The one thing you got to ask is, does Tien play these other off-meta top laners that we just don't know? The one thing that does lack for CLG and lacking for Tien is that the consistency and the explosiveness and the clutch factor of Tien doesn't really come through, and that's where it kind of costs CLG Academy when it comes to that, and that's why I'm a little bit worried of CLG. They do have a very cohesive composition. You know, Ryze can just look to walk up and snare someone and then start these fights off, especially when they're getting locked down and getting feared up by his fellow jungle and his fellow support. But the big question is, you know, FlyQuest Academy, can they kind of answer back with this kind of kiting composition and just kind of scaling and just kind of waiting for that late game? Again, both these teams love playing for that late game. They love waiting until the 30-minute mark. So expect this kind of slow-paced game. Instead, though, we have a level 1.
Ooh, that's going to be Dreams. He gets knocked up. Hooks comes over the wall. Dreams has to flash. He is able to make it out alive here. Just going to be the summoner spell picked up by CLG there, so no flash on Dreams.
Mabi, I thought this was going to be a slow game. CLG going to be going for a cheeky level 1. That's really good. It also means that Keel can look to punish Dreams on the bottom side, knowing that he doesn't have flash. And the Hooks can just flash engage whenever he wants. Along with that, it's a good way of tackling FlyQuest's strengths and where they like to play, which is going to be towards that bottom side. This is where we kind of go back to the Kumo pick and the Renekton, where, you know, does NXI want to play for Kumo on the top side? I don't know. You know, I don't know if you want to. I don't know if that's the way you do want to play, because you're just so used to seeing Tomo, you know, get going real good and see him going for 2v2. So we'll just have to wait and see what NXI is going to decide. Even though he is starting topside, he can always do red, blue into red, and then loop back up to his topside camps. Blue, red, Raptors, Wolves, Gromp, and then just see if he can set himself up for a gank. Instead, though, he is opting for the Gromp, so I'm going to assume that it's going to be a full clear from NXI onto the bottom side. And the opposite side, of course, Keel is going to be doing the same thing. So, looks like it's just going to be a standard full clear for both these junglers.
Without flash on Dreams in the early game, it will mean that if NXI wants to go for an early gank bot side, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than normal. Yeah. He's not going to be able to flash body slam engage. I do like to see the Gragas being used as a counter pick into the Rel specifically, though. If you can get that body slam before Hooks is able to slam down when in pony form, it means that you're going to be able to cancel that huge AoE knockup that the Rel is able to bring to team fights, and that's really what Dreams is going to be focused on in these bottom lane trains. He wants to make sure that Rel isn't able to utilize all the CC that she has available. Hooks wants to try and force these fights, but Dreams will be used to disengage from that. Standard clears, as you mentioned, Keel is going to be able to pick up his Raptors. Both junglers will be on the red at the exact same time, and I want to see how quickly these junglers are going to be looking to go for their first ganks here, because typically Udyr and Hecarim wants to hit level 6. Udyr just wants to find a great flank with that bear stance.
I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. I don't know if Udyr can walk up anyone, man. You walk up to a electric Yordle on top side, he's just going to run away with electrical rush. You go up to the mid lane, and RJS is going to stop you in your tracks. Go up to the bottom side, Hook's going to snare you too, so I actually don't even know if NXI can actually look for an optimal gank unless there's some setup. So, so if that just continues, it's just going to be a farm fest. But remember that, you know, if it gets to the late game, both these teams like to be in the late game. The only difference is just the early game kind of play. So if this game goes slow, that's perfectly fine for both AD carries. And well, both Tomo and RGS, who are the big two carries on both these teams. Kumo, of course, would rather facilitate the fight, you know, and see if he can work himself going into the late game, but if he does get an early kill, it's going to be good for them.
You always like to see early kills coming out for these scaling compositions, but so far, in our last series, we saw team fights happening around this stage in the game. 4:30, 4 minutes, we already saw contracts on the warpath trying to make something happen. This game around, though, both junglers are just going for full clear. They just stay reset. They go back in. Hooks going in alone, though.
This is so good.
Katsuri is nowhere nearby, but Hooks doesn't really care. He's able to just walk out.
This is really good, man. Dream's calling out Hooks. This is also you could set up a freeze on the bottom side. Tomo is able to just kind of sit here and farm things out, and also potentially open up a gank. You know, when you're a bottom lane, you have to deal with the freeze. You have to kind of take a 50-50. Am I going to look to just brute force this wave under the turret? And one, are they going to answer back? Two, is the jungler around? You know, it's real hard to walk up on a frozen wave when you don't know where the jungler is. So this is where freezing waves is really good for Tomo and for Dreams, and potentially set themselves up for NXI to come around and start snowballing Tomo.
The junglers, if they're keeping track of each other, Keel shouldn't know that NXI is going to be on the bottom side of the map here. They have both been doing full rotations on exact mirror sides of the map, blue buff to red buff, and Gromp to Raptors here. We do see both junglers, because of this, are hovering around the mid lane. Dreams and Hooks also here as well. RJS dropping down low. It just feels like we have an exact mirror matchup here. Both peaks but it's going to be the engage coming in from CLG. RJS gets a stun, but it's going to be a flash stun. RJS is able to flash away.
Kumo's
he off the line. Kumo is here. It's going to be the difference of the top lane, as it's a stun that comes down onto Hooks, and Kumo, the Renekton with the rotation, is able to find first blood here in game 1.
If I'm CLG over there, I call timeout. We wanted a 3-on-3, not a 3-on-4. Kumo, you should not be here. But Kumo makes a good play on the mid lane to help out on that 4 versus 3 to get himself a kill. Much needed. And FlyQuest definitely knowing what CLG likes to do, where they play towards RJS, man. They make RJS get real early gold. Keel's gonna be here, and he wants to say hi and see if he wants to contest. You know, NXI is really low though.
Yeah, it's really low. Smite? He's going to be going for the smite here. It is going to be picked up by NXI. Tomo has rotated over. This is not what you want to be seeing of your CLG. Dreams, unfortunately, picking that one up when it couldn't have gone over to Tomo, but that's still an assist and a dragon given over to FlyQuest. It feels like Keel is going in without priority in the bottom lane.
There are some times where Keel makes some very polarizing decisions, man. Before we get to that, let's take a look at this mid lane. This is a 3-on-3. This is what you want to see in the 3-on-3, where your jungle support comes up. But then you see RJS flash away. You saw everyone kind of duking out. And if everyone just backs off, that's pretty much it. Kumo was the deciding factor in this little skirmish that we have in the mid lane. And that's where it all just goes to show that FlyQuest, they're down to allocate some resources to create some action.
You love to see when these late game scaling compositions are willing to rotate everything that they have, use all their tempo in order to try and find early leads here. So far paying off for FlyQuest Academy. Back to the jungle, both of these junglers go as they try to clear out their second rotations of buffs here. I don't think NXI is going to be giving this one over to his mid laner, but that should be just a-okay. Victor has the lost chapter for himself. Tier also for RJS, so if Keel wants to keep the blue buff for himself as well, he will have that one available. It is 7 minutes into this game, and already FlyQuest have 1,000 gold lead. I'm curious to see whether they want to try and contest for this Rift Herald as well here, though, because that will be spawning in just less than a minute, and nobody's rotating just quite yet.
Yeah, we're back to just being chill, man. Just waiting things out and making sure you're just farming up. And I like this, man. This is such a change of pace from the first game, where EG Academy were just fighting left and right. We're getting all hype. This is a good time to breathe. I like this. Where we're just looking, we're paying attention to waves, where we're seeing how waves are set up. We're seeing how Vision's set up, because we see FlyQuest throwing a lot of wards on the top side to see if they can set themselves up for this Rift Herald. When this happens, we also have to pay attention to the bot wave too. Because if Tomo and Dreams do manage to get this wave pushed in, they can look for an overload play. We take a look at them. They're resetting right now. The question is, are they going to be walking themselves to the top side for that Rift Herald, or are they going to walk themselves back to the bottom side?
It does look like they're leaning
to
towards top side.
Yep.
So
this is
early
good.
play.
Yeah, this is really good.
Early FlyQuest play coming in here in order to try and pick up this Rift Herald. TN will be able to get a word on it before it starts, and reset coming in from CLG means that they are also going to be rotating towards the top side of the map. At least I hope so. Rel is leaning towards that middle side, but it looks like Katsuri not believing in the rotation. FlyQuest will have the advantage towards that top side of the map for just a little bit here.
This is really weird, actually. They're committing to a full-on lane swap. This is for the Rift Herald. This is all for the Rift Herald. This is why we see Dreams and Tomo being up here. But now it means that Kumo is just okay sitting on the bottom side and farming. Remember that FlyQuest doesn't have to start this. They're just setting their bot lane up so that if they can take it, they will. And they are, look, I don't think they're looking to start up right now, actually. But look at Tien, he's very far away, and if he does want to join in, both top laners have to teleport. They're still late on this rotation. FlyQuest, I think they're going to look to take it, knowing that Keel doesn't have this smite up, and he can't really contest, so yeah, FlyQuest getting the better end of the trade because of that bot lane tempo advantage and because of the vision that they set up before.
They'll be able to pick up this Rift Herald absolutely for free here. Just ahead on the rotation, it will be picked up. NXI, there you go. Pick up the eye. Make sure we're not leaving that one behind.
Yeah.
Could be a little bit awkward if you leave that abandoned. He needs a friend. He's got to have somebody to attach to, Shelly. But first Drake, first Herald picked up for FlyQuest Academy here. Much slower in the early game than it was in our last series here. And as we continue to look towards the mid game of this, as we continue to look towards the mid game here, both of these teams do have scaling compositions. The Rise and Kaisa versus Victor and Jinx in the mid game, and I'm curious to see your opinion on which DPS combo do you think is going to perform better here, given the compositions.
It's actually pretty tough because in the later stages it's Tomo versus RJS. Katsuri does scale well into the later game, no doubt, but the same as Triple, they're kind of like relatively the same. The big question is just the area of effect damage that you can do. That's where you can think that Triple and Tomo can, when they're both in range, can just delete some kids. But RJS has a little bit longer range. He can just throw that E and then let it bounce around and potentially set something else up. So it's all very circumstantial and situational on one, battle lines, two, where the E is bouncing and if it's bouncing towards the backside, or three, if Triple and Tomo are able to just kind of pump damage onto the front line. Right now, though, FlyQuest are here first, and this has pretty much been the name of the game. They're taking optimal resets. They're going in here, and they do a lot of textbook plays. This is good improvement. The only difference from doing these textbook plays is the speed, and the speed of when you do them. FlyQuest, of course, is a little bit slower on these things, but this is good to see where they're resetting together. They're setting up all this vision together. I mean, look at the bottom river. It's lit up with pink wards and everything else. It's dark for CLG. And Keel, his reset, he's moving to the top side, so all this objective control, FlyQuest is taking him.
they've always been ahead when it comes to these neutral objectives this game. Just a step ahead of their opponents. We saw Hooks trying to get some more coverage in the river, and immediately Dreams shut that one down. Whoa. Down the keel. He wants to try and make something happen mid lane here. He gets the dash back into RJS here. A kill given over to Keels here as he's able to finally find a successful gank of his own in the mid lane. CLG puts themselves on the board.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, man. I was not expecting Keel just to ghost in and tackle triple. You know, those are some things that catches you off guard, right? When you're watching some of these games where, you know, it's all about setup, it's all about wave management, it's all about slowing the game down, and Keel just making an explosive move. This is the reason why he's a little bit polarizing. NXI wants to say hi to Keel, though. TP's coming in.
He already used Smite onto Keel in order to make sure that Bear Sun comes out, but it's going to be Keel. He's able to pick up the actual objective here, the Scuttle Crab, as he held onto his Smite. Smite's that one away. Teleport using the mid lane. Triple shows up just to catch the wave here. So NXI trying to get a fight there, but a great disengage coming in by Keel on CLG.
Yeah, you got the big boy in the river. Crab's real good. Should taste real good, too. I wonder if they eat Scuttle Crabs on Summoner's Rift. That's always something you gotta wonder.
I don't want to know. I would like to believe that the adorable Scuttle Crab isn't a main source of food for those of Runeterra, but
sure.
That's the same way about not wanting to think about Pokemon and what they eat over there, so.
That's true. So, but regardless, in this game state, you know, Keel does get the top Scuttle, and Argis did blow that TP in case of a fight were to occur. But remember, these teams are pretty hesitant. You know, they don't like to play fast and, you know, go in super hard. They're more of the team that, both these teams are more of the teams that look for kind of like the 80-20, 90-10 plays. You know, they want to make sure that the odds are for sure in their favor before making a decision. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you might get caught off guard, like what happened to FlyQuest last week against EG Academy. And in this game, this is where FlyQuest gets to play the game and CLG gets to play theirs. But it also means that anyone can beat anyone.
Keep coming back to that. Anyone can beat anyone. Rift Herald was popped in the mid lane here. Only going to get a couple of plates for the side of FlyQuest Academy, so NXI picks that up for himself.
We're staying in laning, man. 13 minutes in. Probably going to stay in laning for quite some time, too. Because both the junglers are just farming and everything out. This is like a game where, like, you just take the biggest handshake there is, and then you just wait for everyone to get 6 items, and like, all right, we're good. We both got our nuclear weapons. Let's see if we can let's see if who can win. It's like that. It's like you know, it's kind of like what's going to happen at the end, but still, Keel's kind of like the only one that injects like some fights early on. That's what happened in the mid lane. NXI doesn't really do that, and he doesn't really do that for the FlyQuest team. Giving us a thumbs up, of course.
He does have the Onslaught of Shadows available for Keel as well, so if he is looking for something to force a play for CLG, he has the more aggressive engage option there, whereas NXI has to run, stun, job done, you know, use the chem take, use everything just to be able to slap somebody. Onslaught of Shadows is the better, more consistent form of engage here for CLG, and I think across the board it looks like they have just a more consistent engage composition. Once again, we do have a fight going around this topside Scuttle Crab. Keel once again going to be able to secure that one, and he just walks away.
Why does Phoenix Stance hurt? Of course, Keel does take that Scuttle, but why does Phoenix Stance hurt, man?
I don't know.
He just slapped him 3 times and just blew super hot fire at him. Like,
super
hurts. Yeah, super hot fire. This does mean, though, that with the Smite being gone, NXI does have a window for this red buff, but again, man, they're just piecing out, man. They don't, again, both these teams, they don't want anything. They're just like, you know what? Do we want to do this? We might. NXI still has a Smite. Keel has a Smite on ready. That steal comes through, so NXI is going to win on that. Kumo's getting tackled now. Now we see some aggression.
Yeah, CLG, they're rotating towards the bottom side. Kumo, the dash, the flash. He's going to be able to use the double dash as well in order to get over the wall there. Kumo with the cleanest of escapes. But Keel, he says, no, I ain't having none of this. Chem take, Ghost, Onslaught of Shadows. He's trying his best to get over here.
He's still out?
Is today just a game? Is today just a day of escapes? This is all we're seeing.
I guess so, man. Contract's kind of set that up for all of us. Contract's made 2 great escapes. Kumo doing his best, too. And fun fact, they're both animals. So maybe animals can definitely beat humans. You know, whatever they want to go for. So, you know, making a great escape is definitely something that works out for him. Does lose that flash. So CLG can look to tackle him later on. But 16 minutes in, CLG haven't looked to punish some of these flashes. They didn't really punish Dreams early on, even though he blew flash on level 1. But I like what CLG is doing. They have control of this dragon. They don't want to give up soul point. FlyQuest, though, I think they're ready to fight, man. I think they're ready to make sure that this dragon, they have to earn this dragon if they want to try and fight this.
They definitely don't want to give over this dragon for free. Ooh, smite secured by Kill. That's going to be a flash from NXI going into the dragon pin or try to pick that one up. He goes down for his efforts.
Slicing Maelstrom.
Meanwhile, slicing Maelstrom from Downtown. Thien is able to find his way into this fight. The flash, the engage.
Katsuri
is still alive. Katsuri is able to flash away and save his own life. Kumo coming in with a teleport. He's going to be a little late for the dragon, but is going to be able to dissuade the rest of CLG there. It's a 1-for-1 at the end of the day, but priority in the mid lane goes over to FlyQuest.
Yeah, and also with that Rip Tail, it's taken down 2 turrets, man. It took down a lot of those turrets in the mid lane, which means that you're getting FlyQuest to access the map. Sure, you lose Soul Point. Sure, you're unable to play for the Ocean Soul, which will be very good later on in the stage, but you still have some time. And for FlyQuest, taking some of these turrets down and knowing at this time, FlyQuest, I think they're ready to accelerate the game. This is a good time to do so. It's about 20 minutes in, and FlyQuest are the only ones who have 2 turrets on the field. Getting access to these maps is going to be really good, but take a look at this entire time. If Kumo gets zoned by RJS, and RJS is winning that on the bottom side, but Smite came real close. NXI had to flash in to see if he can get it, but unfortunately he's going to fall down. Hooks, of course, falls at the end. Slicing Maelstrom gets exhausted. Well timed by Dreams to make sure Tomo doesn't fall down. Because of that, Katsuri gets bait, and he has to walk himself back out there. Really good clutch little moments from Dreams with that exhaust, and NXI unfortunately not getting back in with that Super Mega Death Rocket, but it's definitely some good things from these players in this game 18 minutes in.
And this is a much closer series, or at least a much closer game 1 than we had on the last series here. 3-2 in score. It's still just a 2,000 gold lead here for FlyQuest Academy. As we just watched, a dragon, 1 apiece for CLG, 2 for FlyQuest. Whoa. The ultimate thrown out by Dreams in order to try and get a pick onto Kill, but not much else besides that. So the big barrel not available for Gragas anymore.
He wanted to show us that if you use ultimate towards Chompers, it does snare him. So good stuff on Dreams. But again, even though we mentioned these cooldowns being gone, flashes being blown, we don't see big punishes. RJS is going to be the one who has to run away as he does flash away from NXI. But still, remember that even though we're counting flashes, even though we're counting ultimates, both these teams are just kind of letting these cooldowns come back up and not looking to take advantage of it. And I think that's something that both these teams could look to do in the future when they want to try and play a little bit faster, trying to punish some of these options they go for. Hook's going to get punished for sure, but never mind. He's going to hop over the wall. He ain't getting punished.
Right when we think that a punish is about to happen,
I think, yeah.
somebody just gets out. That's all. Ooh.
Rocket!
I don't think it's going to be able to kill. We'll cancel.
Oh,
but the onslaught of shadows, though, that's going to be
punish.
able to find a kill. Katsuri picks up that one. 2-0 for this Kaisa in the early game. That's got to be feeling good for CLG.
It caught Tomo slipping, which also means that CLG are able to now break the mid lane turret. Remember that mid lane outer turret is really good when you want to get access to both sides of the jungle. Actually, looks like they won't because Dream's actually going to be calling for the back. It's actually going to be a loss for CLG outside of that 300 gold from Tomo. Getting kills is really great now, but when you're playing slow and steady, you have to get some of these turrets. RJS is looking to force on that bottom side. Teleport's coming in.
Triple's going to be teleporting in here. Combo trying to buy as much time as possible. Barely goes down there to the last Q coming in from Tien. But Triple, he has arrived. He has so much available to him here. The ultimate has been popped out. He's trying to chase down Kill. Double kill picked up for the Victor. Hooks is here, but he's going to have to run out. A lonely support is not going to be able to take on a mid-game Victor. Level 14 to level 8. Dreams coming in as well. Who's taking this turret? Who's going to be the one going for the kill there? Flash. Triple. So close to going down, but he finds himself a triple.
Some mistakes that did occur. Dreams kind of dropped aggro at the last second in case, thinking that Triple would have taken it. But regardless, these are really good kills that FlyQuest does need. It means that Triple is now going to be able to be a strong backline threat for the rest of the squad. It also means that CLG are now losing a little bit more on the map because they haven't managed to take down any turrets again. We thought that we were going to take down mid-tier 1, but it doesn't work out. And this is what all starts off all that action, where CLG wants to find a dive on Akumo, and they do. But then Triple retaliates back really nicely on this teleport, and the jungle aggro on the turret wasn't doing too hot. Tien was sitting there the most because he got stunned up, and it didn't hop over to Kill. It hopped over to RJS. That's why RJS kind of had to back off. He was like, I actually can't stay because the turret is overheating and it's going to do a lot of damage. Of course, Triple takes up this kill. Dream makes a little bit of a mistake. I think if Dreams held on to that turret, Triple didn't have to flash in. you know, but regardless, still a great defensive play from the squad of FlyQuest and the squad and Triple himself, making sure he's sitting pretty.
And you love to see 3 kills being picked up for the mid laner here in the scaling composition. Dragon is going to be spawning on the map in 5 seconds here. Medjai's is the reward for Triple here. He picked up the legendary book, my favorite book of all time. Lucidity Boots also completed for him, so he's going to be feeling pretty here. They're going to be able to pick up the 3rd dragon of the game and put themselves on soul point for FlyQuest Academy. And now that Baron has spawned onto the map as well, they immediately start making their way towards this mid lane. They're going to try and get some ward coverage on this top side of the map, or might even just look to play slow. Tien, though, is going to get caught out here. He should be able to get out. He does use the rocket belt in order to get out safely. Has the flash and the maelstrom available if he absolutely has to, but FlyQuest, they get the drop on Tien, have to force him away, and now they're looking for that ward coverage. They might even be looking for at least some Baron control or RGS here.
RGS does have the teleport, pulling the SOAS. So, if you don't know what the SOAS is, you hop into a bush, you teleport away, and you're all Gucci. That's what RGS is going to do. Unfortunately, that is going to be a big resource that is going to cost him when he's slip pushing, though. As right now, RJS is going to be the big person who can impact the map and try and take down turrets for the team. As remember, like, this is a straight-up 5-on-5 composition from both these squads. The only difference is that Kumo can be a slip pusher, but RJS is a slip pusher. So that's going to be the case, and it's going to be the swing and the pull of this little seesaw action that we got going on.
It's a lot of back and forth as we keep going back here. Both of these teams scaling compositions. I want to look at the farm so far, and look how just perfectly both of these teams are playing. You do have a 20 CS differential in the mid lane and in the 80 carry position for CLG, which is kind of keeping them close here. They are trying to keep up in CS and all of their laners, but perfect CS coming out of Triple, Tomo, RJS, Katsuri. They're playing this game exceptionally well when it comes to the macro play and making sure that getting all the minion waves available to them.
They just want to build those banana plantations, man. Just farm them up, get that gold.
Did you just monkey balloon reference me?
Oh yeah, I did, man. Yeah, banana plantations. It generates a lot of gold, and you're farming them. So
I was not prepared for that. Oh, that is a flash from the past that I was not prepared for at all. As FlyQuest and CLG looking at the work of
players.
Why do you do this to me?
What's
reference
up, man?
after reference.
I play a lot of games. I watch a lot of shows. It's just how it goes.
I respect it. I respect it because we all played Monkey
RJS
Defense Balloon before. RJS, he's going to get flashed. He's going to get stunned. He cannot get out here. The Realm Warp is not going to be available. Shutdown secured by Kumo. Is this going to be Baron for FlyQuest? They weren't pinging it. They're starting it up.
All right. I'm liking this. FlyQuest now looking to start up this Baron. They could go see if they can go for a Hail Mary, but RJS is a big portion of that damage. It's already dropping to 8K. Hooks ain't around the corner. I think Keel has to opt in for a steal. But this is where Hooks goes in.
Hooks goes in. That's going to be the start of the fight from the top. Tien with the behind. He gets the Maelstrom. Look at all the damage coming out from CLG. There is no RGS, but it does not matter. NXI is able to pick up one for himself, but Katsuri is putting in the DPS. Tien with the flank sets it up for CLG.
Oh, shout-outs to Tien, man. He made that play look real good. Even though he got exhausted, it didn't matter because of the position that was created. When you're playing a solid front-to-back team fight, you don't want anyone behind you. Tomo don't want anyone behind him. But Tien, he's a tiny little Yordle. It's hard to see him. He's a ball of lightning. And he sliced up everyone and allowed Katsuri to come in with that killer instinct and still hold on to that flash and heal. With all these summer spells being blown because FlyQuest thought they could take that Baron by taking out RJS, FlyQuest... It's going to be really hard for FlyQuest to start some of these fights now because they have to be very wary of some of these flanks. RJS, of course, goes down on the replay, and this is what prompts FlyQuest to start, but they weren't ready for that ward behind them. They weren't ready to see this little TP play come through. As this Baron comes through, you hear the communication. Tien resets, and he's like, yo, I can TP in. Yo, I can TP in. Yo, TP's coming in, and that's where Hook starts off the fight. And it scatters everyone. Look at where the front line and back line of FlyQuest is. The backline's in the front line sitting with Dreams and sitting with Kumo, and that's where Tomo dies. Tomo can't be in there. The only way he can do is just sit at the back of the wall, and maybe, just maybe, his team just creates a gigantic arc around them. But now FlyQuest are feeling real pressured as they have to retreat from the mid lane and give up this priority.
He wanted that engage there so badly. Onslaught of Shadows just barely not available. Hooks using the Hextech Flash. CLG is really trying to force a fight here. 35 seconds until until the next dragon spawns onto the map, and CLG do not want to allow for FlyQuest to pick up this Ocean Soul.
This is good for CLG. Knowing that they have summer advantage is really important here. It just means that they can find the flanks. Team doesn't have flash, of course, but RJS has flash. RJS can flash snare and then set up Keel. To pay attention to what RJS can do if he can actually access Tomo. Pay attention to Katsuri because he also has flash heal too. If any sort of hard crowd control tackles down Tomo and Jinx, it's going to be a big one. Tien going to get caught on a split push. Kumo did not want to be on that wall, but regardless, it's just a trade of HP. Tien, of course, sitting at 50%, but we're having that dance, Icarus. We're throwing stuff away. We're seeing who Dragon wants to hit and see who's going to start up this Dragon first, but pay attention to Kumo. He's going to be the big flanker, but this is where the fight starts.
Force engage, Onslaught of Shadow goes in, but is it going to be enough? Tomo is going untouched. Tien
Tomo's
cannot
alive.
find the Maelstrom onto Jinx. Katsuri is trying to do his best. He dives into the backline, but now he is the focus of this Jinx. Kumo, he gets the flank, but he's not going to find any kills. Instead, he forces Keel and RJS away. Two members, the frontline members of FlyQuest Academy, are extremely low. The Dragon is going to be resetting here. Keel, he wants to go in, but it's not going to be enough. Triple finds the kill. They find RJS. No, not time just quite yet for CLG. 4 members go down. Soul is picked up, and Baron is sure to boot next.
Many mistakes occurred, and this is going to alert FlyQuest to just start up this Baron. Remember that CLG needs to find the flank on Tomo. He doesn't have flash, he doesn't have heal, but what FlyQuest has is a strong battle line that can make sure Tomo doesn't get tackled. Watch where this fight starts, and watch where Tomo is. Onslaught of Shadows doesn't land. Hook isn't on Tomo. Tien is unable to get onto Tomo, and then Katsuri, he was like, wait, where's my team at? Oh, I thought y'all were diving. Oh, you guys are dead. I have to back out, and this is where now Keel is in a desperate situation of giving him this sole point. CLG, I think, make a gigantic error trying to go in. Just take your losses. You can't look to fight this and try and go for a steal, because when you do, and you take a look at the screen right now, what do all the members of FlyQuest have?
Not only do they have Ocean Soul,
they got a little purple swirly thing under them, man. They got all of it. Oh yeah, it's sole point. That's why I have to fight it. But still, like, CLG, they just have to find the right ways to fight, and fighting in front to back and not jumping on Tomo is the biggest incorrect way of fighting against one of these hyper carries that love them battle lines.
I was questioning the Tomo first pick for Jinx here, and we're seeing why there's such a high priority for FlyQuest on making sure the AD carry is able to get the champion that he wants to play here. CLG have to dive into him, but his positioning is just phenomenal in these fights. Triple also now 21 stacks on that Medjais. He's almost completed his entire book. He's just got to write the final chapter here, which is going to be him and the rest of FlyQuest Academy trying to end out this game here. Bot lane outer turret or inner turret goes out. They're going to be focusing the inhibitor turret next, and with the Ocean Soul, with the Baron buff, they can look to take this as slow as they want, but Tomo does not agree. He's just going to town with these rockets, and the inhibitor turret already goes down here.
And you want to take a look at the mid lane too. We see Kumo setting himself up in the mid lane to see if this middle inhibitor gets taken down too. Remember that FlyQuest are the ones who now have summer advantage against CLG, and this is where summer advantage is very important. Katsuri, no flash, no heal. Keel now activating the ghost. This is where they want to fight. Tomo on a flank.
They're able to find Tomo. That's going to be the Maelstrom. He goes down. He blows up. CLG is able to find the flank. There wasn't even a teleport. It was just being able to get behind the lines. But now it is a retaliation from FlyQuest. Triple is still alive in his hooks and is forced to disengage from his fight. Tien, he finds the flank, but he also gives his life because he was not able to reposition rest of FlyQuest Academy. They want to go in. They were able to pick up the mid lane inhibitor. Now they're going to pick up the bottom lane inhibitor as well. Inhibitor finished. Mid lane. Keel. He wants to go and flash it from hooks. Is it going to be enough? Keel, he doesn't have any movement speed.
Triple's fine.
Katsuri is still there. Triple is still alive, though. Keel is able to run out. RGS is trying to get a little bit more damage in here. And FlyQuest, they're playing with fire. How much are they going to be able to find? Can they finish off the inhibitor? They will. They got to back out now, though. They have to leave here. They picked up 2 inhibitors. They find so much for themselves, and now they can walk away and reset the game.
The biggest thing that is currently apparent right now, Icarus, is that CLG's target selection isn't looking too hot, man. That bot side fight where they try to jump in a front-to-back team fight, it wasn't looking too good. This is where it was really good, where Tien managed to find the flank with the Realm Warp coming in. This is so good, and this is what CLG has to do to get the first part of the victory for themselves in these fights. But we have to pay attention to Triple, because Triple wasn't even tackled in that fight overall, and that's where Triple was able to just output all that damage now. We gotta look at CLG now. You gotta wonder, yo, what are we going to do with triple? Because we take down Tomo, we're burning a lot of tools for him. Can we burn more tools to take out both? I don't know. If Exhaust comes through on Dreams, Slicing Maelstrom isn't going to do a lot.
Slicing Maelstrom has really been the main form of engage for CLG as well. The Realm Wolf used to get TN into the backline. They were able to blow up Tomo, but as you said, 25 stacks onto triple here. He is going to be feeling so powerful. The Zanya's now also completed for the late game victor carry.
You want his Keel?
Keel,
yeah, you don't want
looking
to
maybe find something, but won't find anything.
Yeah. He just saw a nice scuba diver swimming. He's like, yo, I want to see. But no, he's going to back off. However, FlyQuest is going to be starting up this siege for themselves, and this is where CLG have to find a way back. Remember that Rise, of course, can teamfight, but then he needs time. He needs time to set up the ease and making sure it bounces to the back line. But if it's bounced to the front line, it's going to be it. But Kumo is in the front.
Kumo forcing this fight. Teleport. Keep an eye out from TN in the back side here, but it's going to be
Tomo's
too low.
killing everyone, though.
Tomo is already popping off. Hooks is trying to buy time. They're trying to make sure that the kid is able to participate in this fight, but he gets backed away. Dreams playing the backline bodyguard defender for his team. TN is not able to find his way into this fight. Triple and Tomo just do way too much damage. FlyQuest Academy, they're going to be looking to pick up this final inhibitor. They have super minions in the mid lane. Katsuri, the only member of CLG left alive here. He will not be enough in order to defend the Nexus turret. First Nexus turret goes down. Kumo, they want to get the ace.
Oh, fantasy points. 9-1-9 on Mr. Triple himself, but for sure FlyQuest making sure that this composition, this front-to-back team fight is working out well. And that's where, you know, that's where you take a look at the flanks of where CLG won. If they get those optimal flanks off, it looks real good, man. That's the most ideal way CLG wants to fight when it comes down to it. But it just sucks because when they had the momentum and they want to opt in for a fight, they just threw that away with some incorrect target selection. And that's one thing I gotta highlight, man. Whether that's tackling Triple, whether that's tackling Tomo, they need to be on the same page on who they want to bring down. I understand that Jinx is a quarterback, but then when you got a mad blitzer, you know, tackling the running back, tackling the freaking rear guard, it's not going to work, man. You got to see if you can take down Jinx, and then from there, take down Triple. So, a little bit unfortunate. It was a good, solid composition that seemed pretty cohesive. They just have to find the right openings and making sure they get themselves on the right foot. But, unfortunate. But, FlyQuest, you know, they do take the victory. Shout out to them because they play, though, again, late game is where they both shine.
Both of these teams late game style compositions, and I think a lot of it has come down to the fact that Triple was able to get a lead early, and while Tomo became the hyper focus of CLG, Triple did so much work. 9-1-9 at the very end there, fully stacked Medjai. Zanya's available for himself as well. We constantly saw CLG looking for the right plays, as you mentioned. They were looking for these dives. They were never able to get both carries at the exact same time. And that's where CLG struggled here. I think had they found a little bit more proactivity in the early game, allowed for Kaisa to take off, really where I was looking, Katsuri had some shining moments, but just couldn't ever really use that killer instinct to go for the assassinations. If they'd gotten some more early game leads into the Kaisa, if Katsuri had been able to find those assassinations, those great killer instincts, maybe we could see Triple, maybe we could see Tomo both feeling pressured once they're able to transition CLG's backline into FlyQuest backline, but we just didn't see it happen here. Great positioning, great team fight acknowledgement coming in from FlyQuest Academy, making sure that both of their carries can't be focused at the exact same time.
And that's where it just kind of sucks because we look at CLG, remember, like, this is a team that's gone through a lot of roster swaps, man. This is a team that, you know, they're still working on some kinks. And this is the last line, though. Like, it definitely sucks when you're in a tournament. You know, I get these, you know, you feel that if you play tournaments, if you compete, you get these all the time where, you know, you're struggling, you know that your team's kind of not working, your team needs to be just a little more cohesive, and then it starts working things out. This needs to happen for CLG, man. They need to make sure that their target selection is on point, their decision making is on point, they have their optimal setups that is on point. Because if they're not on point this game, Icarus, that's it, they're going home. And that's it, man.
This is loser brackets. If they lose this next game here, they are going home. They'll be joining TL in off the Proving Grounds. They're going to be in the off season. We won't be able to see them again until summer. But ladies and gentlemen, FlyQuest are able to take game one here. Hopefully, we're able to see CLG bring it back in game two. But we're going to throw it over to a quick spectator delay as we get set up for this final game. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you guys in just a few more minutes.